I'm Dan Michaels. Paulie Lines is our producer, and Paul Juergens, our news director in the KFGO News Center. We go back to Mr. Juergens at the bottom of the hour for more KFGO news. Well, there was an interesting statistic I saw last week, said some 43% of us are thinking about making a switch with our careers after dealing with COVID and staring our jobs right in the face, maybe losing our job, furloughed from our job, doing it from home, whatever your circumstance might be. But switching jobs, switching careers, it's always such a scary thing. How do you know what the right thing to do is? Well, that takes us to our guest. Geraldine Hogan is a retired judge of compensation claims for the state of Florida. She's also certified by the Florida Supreme Court as a circuit court mediator and focuses her practice on mediating workers' compensation claims. Prior to that, though, she was a public school teacher for more than 10 years. She has a passion for helping others make career moves when they know it's time for them to do so, and has authored a book about it called Career Moves for Teachers and Other Professionals, Strategies for a Successful Job Change. So if this is you, if you're sitting whatever you're doing at your job right now and going, man, I got to get out of here, I thought Geraldine would be able to help you and everybody else. Let's say hello to Geraldine Hogan. Hi, Geraldine.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm great. How about yourself today?
I am doing fine. Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure, believe me. So, Geraldine, let's talk about job switches. I couldn't believe that statistic last week that said some 43% of people want to make the move, are making the move, contemplating the move. Do you think that number is super high?
I have actually read some statistics that say that it's even higher than the 43%. So I think there are a lot of people that are experiencing job dissatisfaction.
Well, I tell you what, since that's going on, let's have everybody turn their radio up and gather around, and let's listen to expert Geraldine Hogan today on how you would make such a move. So, Geraldine, first thing, I was trying to put myself in this spot, and we've all been there. I think everybody's been there. If it's not a career change, it was getting out of where you were, doing something different. How do you know when it's time to go?
One of the things that I think you have to do is to be aware of what you're feeling and what you're thinking. So when you know, if you're going, especially as it pertains to a job, if you're driving to work every day and you're having anxiety or you're feeling anxious or you're feeling you're having those negative feelings and you're just really sad and don't want to go, then that's an indication that it's time for you to make a change. Sometimes we all have those feelings where you may have a day and you're feeling like, okay, I just don't want to go today. But the rest of the time or the majority of the time, you feel okay about going, or you may even be excited about going. But when you get to the point where going to work every single day becomes misery for you, then it's definitely time for you to consider making a change.
I started noticing things like Sunday nights. I just truly dreaded trying to get to sleep on Sunday nights.
Exactly. That's another indication. It's like every Sunday you're feeling physically ill almost just thinking about going to work the next day.
So what's the first thing we should do? We've wrestled with it. I'm sure people think about, no, this feeling will go away. I should be happy I've got this job. I'm fortunate I'm employed. I'm bringing money home from my family. I can't rock the boat. We finally came to terms with it and have decided after that last meeting, whatever that straw was that broke the camel's back, what's the first thing we should do?
The very first thing to do is to make a decision that you're going to make a change. Coming to that final conclusion, you may not make that change today, you may not make it tomorrow, but you are going to make a change. And sometimes we don't have a choice, especially now during COVID. Some people have actually lost their jobs. So come to terms with the fact that now is the time for you to move on. And after you do that, then you have to decide what it is that you want to do. You can do that by take some time to figure out what are some of the things that you enjoy doing in your job. What are some of who are some of the people that you know or that you've met who are doing what you believe that you want to do? And this is a period of what I consider to be research. Start talking to people about what they're doing, how they became qualified to do what it is that they're doing, and then just start doing internet searches to see what's out there. Just spend some time doing research, not Don't feel like you're going to come up with the answer right away, but take some time to research what it is that you want to do.
I'm not
so
really.
that would be the next step.
And are there more? I don't want to interrupt you there. Are there other things we should do?
Well, once you make a decision about what it is that you want to do, then you want to create a plan. What will be your next step? Is it going to be submitting a resume? Is it going to be filling out a job application? But decide what your plan is going to be for you to go about pursuing that particular job, and then take action. Once you create your plan, take action by implementing that plan. And one of the things that I always tell people to remember is that whatever decision you make, it's not set in stone. I think it's important to make decisions, to create a plan, and to take action. But don't be so afraid of making a mistake that you don't even want to take the first step towards reaching your next career goal. Because even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way that you intended, there's always an opportunity for you to try to do something else or to make various changes in terms of where you are and what you're doing. So expect to be afraid. You won't have all of the answers right away, but make a decision, create a plan, and implement the plan.
Boy, I love and fear. Let's talk about fear for a second. I mean, just think of the things people, including myself, would have accomplished in their lives. Did they not fear failure, fear of being rejected, fear of letting somebody down, fear of being laughed at, whatever it may be? Mm-hmm. How do you control your fear when you are going into something like this? You know you need to make a change, but boy, fear of not making that regular paycheck right away, that's got to impact you.
Definitely. And one of the things, and this is not an original saying that I came up with, so many authors and speakers have said it, and that is feel the fear and do it anyway. Don't expect the fear to go away. You're going to be afraid, especially if you're getting ready to make a change that is completely outside of your norm or completely outside of your comfort zone. So my advice would be feel the fear and do it anyway. One of the things that I talk about in my book, Career Moves for Teachers and Other Professionals, was when I made the decision to go to law school. Initially, when I was going through the application process and studying and preparing for the law school admissions exam, I didn't necessarily have the fear because I didn't know if it was going to become a reality. But once I submitted application for a leave of absence for my job, once I was actually accepted into law school, and I drove onto the campus of the law school that I was going to attend, I felt extremely afraid. I felt that I had made a mistake. I felt that I was going to fail, that I was going to be embarrassed. I had every single fear imaginable. But I decided that I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to do the best that I can. And the worst that could happen would be that I'm not successful and I have to either go back to my previous job or do something else. So one of the things that I would tell people to do is think of the worst thing that can happen, because the worst thing that can happen probably will not happen. But even if it does, know that you will survive it and continue to move forward in spite of the fear that you will feel, especially, like I said before, if you're stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something completely different.
Geraldine Hogan is joining us. We're talking about switching careers. An amazing amount of Americans right now, probably because of COVID, are re-examining what they're doing for a living and thinking about doing something else. So getting re-educated, you just talked about it, going back to law school while you were engaged in another profession. I think going in and having to have your education over again or go for a couple of years, I think that stops a lot of people. And today there are more avenues to getting educated in another profession than ever before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are opportunities for, first of all, you have online learning that exposes you to so many courses that are relatively inexpensive, a lot more inexpensive than pursuing another college degree. But there are also opportunities where you may not have to get any additional education. you may need to just figure out what your transferable skills are. So you may be able to transfer what you've been doing into a new career. And what you would have to do in those particular situations is to know what the expectations of your new career or your new job are, and then tailor your resume to fit that job description, and prepare for transferring to a position without going back to school by talking to other people who are doing what it is that you're seeking to do. So there are definitely opportunities, and most of us have more skills than we even know about, that we even realize. But once you start to see what other people are doing, you realize that you can do it and that you have the ability already to do that.
Yep, that's right. And on the way out of here today, Geraldine Hogan, should we ever let money, salary, stop us from going after our dreams?
I definitely would not think so. In fact, I was looking at something on an article not too long ago that actually stated that many people prefer job security, health care coverage, and professional development even over a salary increase. So I definitely don't think that salary should be the determining factor, because once you start in a new career or a new area or a new job, you may actually, even if you start lower than what you're currently earning, there's always opportunities for you to earn more.
And
I don't think the salary alone should be the determining factor.
And I just so agree with you right there. And it's just amazing how stuff works out. I think the number one thing to do, you got to make up your mind that you're going to do it, and then jump in with both feet. And stuff just has a way of working out, and you're going to make it. And hopefully, you're going to be a lot happier once you make that change. Geraldine Hogan joining us today. Geraldine's got a book, Career Moves for Teachers and Other Professionals: Strategies for a Successful Job Change. Where do we find the book?
It's available on Amazon.com, and it's also available at GeraldineHogan.com.
GeraldineHogan.com, Geraldine with a G. Geraldine, thank you very, very much. I hope you have a lovely evening, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Take care. Geraldine Hogan today. KFGO time coming up on 423. You're listening to The Drive on the Mighty 790 KFGO.